story begins with a deadly game where there's only one rule to win. You can't stop. This isn't just any race. It's a pact with death. Anyone who breaks the rule 3 times will be shot on the spot without mercy. In the end, only one survivor will remain, the winner of this year's challenge. This is Long Walk, a thriller that explores the extremes of human greed and courage. The story is set in the future, where the country is suffering through a severe economic depression. People have no jobs, no money, and no hope. To keep the population entertained, the government organizes an annual event, the last race of life. From all 50 states, one young contestant is chosen. Whoever keeps walking until the very end wins millions in prize money and gets one wish granted. Our hero, Raymond, is a middle-class boy, the only son of Ginny. She knows how deadly this race is, but Ray is determined. Either I win or I die. With tears in her eyes, Ginny sends him off, knowing this might be their last goodbye. Before the walk begins, Ray meets Peters, a strong and confident guy who trusts his body and endurance completely. Around them, other participants wait, some cracking jokes, others nervous, a few treating it like just another event. Suddenly, an army jeep pulls into the field. Inside sits the competition's organizer, a strict colonel. He hands out numbers and says just one thing: this year, our nation will rise again. Then the sound of a gunshot echoes through the air. The parkour and death race begins. All participants start walking in unison. Each of them wears a smartwatch that tracks their pace. The rule is simple: maintain a minimum speed of 3 miles per hour. If anyone slows down for more than 10 seconds, they get a warning. After 3 warnings, boom. Army vehicles line both sides of the road, watching closely. Step off the path, and you're out, instantly. At first, everyone looks confident. Some are even laughing and chatting. A contestant named Stubbins already gets his first warning, but he jokes, "No worries, it'll reset when the hour's up." Then another participant, number 5, bends down to remove a stone stuck in his shoe. That small mistake costs him dearly. Slowing down for more than 10 seconds triggers 2 warnings in a row. Now he knows. The next slip-up could be his last. Meanwhile, Ray and Peters keep moving forward, talking as they walk. Most of the players come from poor families, for whom this prize is their last chance to change their lives. But Ray believes it's all madness. Not a game, but a cruel joke played on people's desperation. From behind, Richard, a writer, says, "I'm going to write a book about this race so the world can see how inhuman it really is." Just then, chaos breaks out ahead. Runner number 7, Curly, twists his ankle. He tries his best to keep his pace, but the system keeps warning him. Ray encourages him, "Come on, brother, just a little more." But within minutes, his strength gives out and he collapses. The machine beeps and a gunshot follows the very next moment. The race continues, but one life ends. The same people who were laughing and chatting moments ago now have fear written on their faces. The scorching sun was burning their skin. Ray slowly moved forward toward the water supply van and took a long sip. That was their only government-provided facility. Everything else, like food, they had to bring themselves. On the roadside, a few spectators held posters and cheered for the runners. One girl shouted Ray's name. "Go Ray! You can do it!" Peter smiled and said, "See? There are still good people left in the world." Ray replied, "The real battle is staying together, not bringing each other down." They looked at each other and said, "All for one, one for all." But Gary, running ahead, laughed at them. "Friendship doesn't work here," he said. "Only survival." Suddenly, one of the runners in the middle started vomiting and collapsed. Gary stepped on him and ran past. "One less competitor," he muttered. "My chances just got better." Rage boiled inside Ray and Peter, but they knew even a second's hesitation could cost them their lives. They controlled themselves. 3 hours had passed. The sun was right overhead, and dust had replaced their sweat. When one runner stumbled ahead, Ray quickly grabbed him and said, "Take it slow, just don't fall below the speed line." This race isn't about speed, it's about endurance. Just then, Gary started his nonsense again, mocking Rank. In rage, Rank turned around and tried to punch him, but he lost his balance and fell hard. The fall triggered 3 warnings, and the next sound they heard was boom. The remaining runners immediately stepped away from him. No one trusted anyone anymore. Suddenly, a strange stench spread through the air. From behind, Cole came running. Someone must have let it out. Everyone bursts out laughing, but the next moment Ronald in the front lowers his head in shame and sits down quietly. Instantly, the third warning buzzes. Another shot, another life gone. Now everyone finally understands. In this race, no one can stop, no matter what happens. About 35 miles later, the colonel arrives in his Jeep and announces through a loudspeaker, "In life, you rarely get a chance where one step can make you immortal. Don't waste it." Slowly, night begins to fall. With the darkness comes sleep and exhaustion. Everyone knew the first night was the most dangerous one. Many walkers drifting off in half sleep slow down and get shot. Through the silence of the night, the constant beeps of warnings and the echo of gunshots fill the air. Ray himself has already received 2 warnings. Behind him, Gray mocks him again. "Hey, hero, looks like your time's up." Ray is nearly broken when Peter comes over, holds his hand and says, "Breathe, drink some water, and keep looking ahead. The night will pass." Ray steadies himself, and together they make it through the dark night. With the first light of dawn, hope returns to their eyes. Only 18 players remain. Every face shows pure exhaustion. Suddenly, a voice echoes from behind. No one dares to turn around, but Ray knows it's Aspect's turn. His leg is badly twisted, and he's already received 2 warnings. Ray yells in anger, "This isn't a rule, it's madness." But Gray, walking ahead, still can't keep his sharp tongue quiet. Peter puts a hand on Ray's shoulder and says, "Brother, don't waste your energy on people like him. We need our strength to survive." Just then, the colonel's voice comes through the loudspeaker. "Congratulations! You've all completed 100 miles. But before they can even celebrate, one of the players suddenly breaks away, running toward a roadside shop, maybe to grab food or try to escape. He takes only a few steps before a gunshot rings out and he collapses. The air is filled with silence and fear. To break the tension, Ray cracks a joke to lighten the mood. But everyone knows, even laughter now stands face to face with death. Then one boy shouts, "This system treats us like animals." Others join him, yelling in anger. For a brief moment, they all forget their competitors. That night, their hatred pointed in one direction, toward the system that brought them here. As the night deepens, rain begins to pour. Ice-cold water numbed their bodies, but because of that, this night had the fewest deaths. When the third morning dawned, Arthur shocked everyone. Right there on the street, he pulled his pants down in front of the crowd. But his timing was perfect. He finished before the third warning, and Peter laughed and gave him a thumbs up. "Man, you're a legend," he said a little later. As Arthur moved on, Ray told Peter what was in his heart. He explained why he had come to play this game. "I love my father very much," Ray said. "He never stopped me from touching things or learning. Freedom was his religion, in music, books, thought. But one night the army came to his house. The colonel accused my father of treason. He said if my father didn't kneel and swear loyalty to the government, he would be shot. My father didn't hesitate. He said, 'I will never kneel.' At that moment, the shot rang out and Ray's world ended. 'I want to win this race,' Ray said, 'so I can get to that colonel and finish him.' Peter replied, 'Revenge isn't everything. Think about your mother. Think about the people who love you.' He was silent for a while. Then Peter smiled and said, 'Walk with me, brother.' Ray kept his head bowed and continued walking. Now the distance was 170 miles. One player's leg was badly injured. He asked the soldiers for help, but instead of medicine, they gave him bullets. He writhed in pain while the soldiers just watched their watches, waiting for the third warning. Finally, the shots rang out and his leg was crushed under the tank. Seeing this, another player snapped. He tore off his clothes and ran screaming into the street. A spray of bullets wiped him out the next instant. Only 7 people were left. Night fell again. One young man could not bear it any longer. He ran toward the soldier's vehicle as if embracing death. They let him write for a full 30 seconds before killing him. Arthur ran after him to try to save him, but 2 warnings came immediately. Ray grabbed Arthur and pulled him back. Otherwise, Arthur would have died too. The pain inside them had turned into courage. They held each other, soaked in blood and exhaustion, and kept going until the first rays of the sun. Now number 5, the one who always teased everyone, was watching them from afar. For the first time, there was softness in his eyes. He approached Ray slowly and said, "I know I've always been bad. I was alone as a child. Everyone made fun of me. I just wanted to walk with someone. Can I walk with you too?" Ray gave a faint smile and said, "Walk as long as you can." But maybe that smile was the last bit of hope left for contestant number 5. On the 5th morning, Ray finally saw his hometown in the distance. He was overjoyed. But then, the sole of his shoe tore off. Now he had to run barefoot. Suddenly, he saw his mother standing by the roadside. Tears rolled down her cheeks when she saw her son's bleeding feet. Ray ran toward her, but just then, his friend Peter grabbed him tightly and pulled him back onto the track, because if Ray got a third warning, he'd be finished. Ray regretted everything. He wished he had never joined this horrible race. Peter tried to comfort him, saying, "Just win, man. You can buy your mom a good house with the prize money." Now only 5 runners were left. Stebbins was exhausted, Arthur's nose started bleeding, and suddenly one contestant ran ahead, snatched a soldier's gun, and tried to free everyone. But he was shot in the stomach and took his own life to escape the pain. Later that night, Arthur collapsed too. Before dying, he handed his necklace to Ray and said, "Please give this to my grandmother." After a while, Dan also stopped and revealed, "I'm General Stebbins' illegitimate son. I joined this race hoping he'd accept me and my mother. But now I realize I hate that bloodline." Then he ended his own life. Now only Peter and Ray were left. Heavy rain poured as the crowd cheered their names. Peter stopped and said, "You win, brother. Your mom's waiting for you." But Ray refused. He had already taken 2 warnings, yet he lifted Peter up and said, "Come on, man, just a little more." Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. Ray stopped, taking his 3rd warning. He died, but Peter was declared the winner. Everyone celebrated, but Peter was shattered inside. The general came forward to hand him the prize and asked, "Tell me, what do you want?" Peter looked straight into his eyes and said, "I want my friend back." Then without hesitation, he picked up a soldier's gun and pulled the trigger on the general. To fulfill his friend's last wish, Peter rejected the $1 million prize. He even stood up against the whole world. And that's the complete story of The Long Walk. Though the movie shows a dark dystopian world, at its heart, it's a tribute to humanity, friendship, and rebellion. That's why it's considered one of Stephen King's earliest but most emotionally powerful stories. With this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.